There is something you must remember to do in your IB Psych AA, but so many students forget to do it. In this video, I want to explain what that is and how you can do it really clearly. Don't miss out on easy marks. The first thing, make sure you read the rubric. And we're going to focus on the introduction here. And these are the 3 key points in the rubric. But the one I want to focus on is the link to the student's investigation is explained. Most students do not do this. They focus on the original study and summarize the background study and ignore the theory or model. So it's quite tricky to think about how you can link your investigation to the background theory or model. So that's what we're going to cover. And I'm going to give you 3 specific ways you can link your investigation. That is to say, you're going to link your study that you're conducting to the background theory or model. So the first way is you can use the theory to explain the results of the original study. So while it doesn't say in the rubric that you have to summarize the original study, it makes sense to do so. And so here are some possible examples you might be using. You could use schema theory to explain memory scores if that was the original test you did, or the dual processing model to explain the anchoring effect, maybe the multi-store model explaining the recency effect, or working memory could be explained verbal versus visual interference if you're replicating that experiment. Here's another example. This one comes out of our IA teacher support pack, and now this is based on a study that you would not do for your IA because it's about body image dissatisfaction. But if you see here, this is the summary of the original study, and then I go into a new paragraph and explain these results using the background theory or model, social comparison theory. And so that's what it could look like. You summarize the original study, but then have a separate, and that's just, what is that, one quite well written sentence, if I do say so myself, that uses the theory to explain the results. Again, that is in our IA teacher support pack. That's the first way I would suggest linking your investigation to the background theory or model. The second way is explain how your aim is testing the theory. In your introduction, you need to state the aim of your investigation, and then you can link your aim to the theory. And you do that by stating at least one specific claim of the theory that your study is going to test. So be specific here and have a very specific claim. So let's say, for example, I was doing a minimal group experiment on social identity theory. Now again, I couldn't do this for the IA, which is exactly why I'm doing it as an example here, so you don't just copy it. I might say something like the aim of our investigation is to see if identifying with an in-group will have an effect on in-group bias. Then I can go on further and say, this aim is testing one of the central claims of social identity theory. Now, this is one sentence here, and this is another way in which, without adding too many words to my introduction, I can clearly show a link between my study, with the aim of my study, and the background theory or model. And I can say the aim is testing one of the central claims of social identity theory, that prejudice and discrimination happens because people have a natural tendency to be biased towards their own in-groups. Now, that is something I made up, not made up, but that's something that I wrote off the top of my head. Yours will probably be much better, and we'll have another example here soon. The third way you can link your study to the background theory is to explain the relevance of your aim. Now, that's something that is stated in the rubric that you must do. But you could also state the relevance of your theory. And let's have a look at what that looks like. Here we've got an example of what a paragraph combining the second piece of advice I gave you and this one might look like. Now this is based on the Bobo doll study. Do not do this for your AA. This is another example you shouldn't do. So I've got here the aim of the experiment, and then I've got the important claim that's stated, and then I'm saying our investigation is testing this claim. Now notice I'm using the word investigation just to make it really clear to the examiner that I'm hitting those marks of the rubric. And so our investigation is testing this claim by seeing if watching violence leads to aggression. It is important to investigate the validity of this claim because it's often used in campaigns to limit or ban violent media. The aim of our experiment is relevant because, so you see what I've done here is kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and this is one possible way you could do this. Again, these are just suggestions. You don't have to do these, but these are just 3 possible suggestions of things to do in your introduction. You could say, here I'm saying the relevance of the aim and talking about the relevance of the testing the claim of that theory. So I'm further explaining the relevance of the aim and linking the investigation to the background theory. So if we have a look at the checklist for the introduction, this is just for the complete introduction. Make sure that you've got your theory or model summarized, the original study, the link between the two is explained in the 3 ways that I've just shown. You state your aim, the relevance of your aim, your research and null hypotheses, your IV and DV are operationalized, and ideally in the research hypothesis, but if not, you can operationalize them in a separate paragraph. Okay, so to recap, 3 ways you can link your study to the background theory or model is use the theory to explain the results of the original study, explain how your aim is testing the theory, and explain the relevance of not only the aim of your study, but also explain the relevance of the theory. Right? Okay, there we have it. Now, if that was helpful, you might find the ebook for the IA. You can find that on our store, link in the description. But just bear in mind that this is just the chapter taken out of the textbook. So if you already got our textbook, then you won't need that. Just open up your textbook, and there it is. We've got the blog here and the YouTube channel, and plenty more resources. Everything is in the description if you need it. I really hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. Thank you.